All right, welcome everyone. Hopefully you can all hear me. My name is Carrie Murphy. I am the Director of Certification and Innovation at WeConnect International. We're very excited for International Day and the WBENC conference coming up in Las Vegas next week. So we hope you are all planning to join us. I'm sure you are, and that's why you're on this webinar. This is going to be the last in our series of webinars focused on preparing for the conference and making sure that you make the best of the opportunities that are there for you at this conference. So we'll be going through some things. If you have questions during the webinar, you can share them in either the chat box or the Q&A box. We'll be keeping an eye on both. So feel free to share them, and then we'll open it up at the end for Q&A. I am sharing my screen, so hopefully you are all in front of your computer or another device where you can see that, so you can see the presentation we're going to be going through. So to get started, great, we're so glad you're going to be joining us. We find that International Day and the WBENC conference are great events to attend if your company is interested in the U.S. market. So a lot of the corporate representatives at this event are based in the U.S. and are focused on the U.S. market. So it's a great opportunity to make connections with them. If your company is currently exporting or planning on exporting in the near future and looking at expansion, this is a great way to make international connections. I just mentioned the corporate representatives that will be there. There will also be a large number of U.S. certified women business enterprises there for you to connect with. And there will also be a large number of I'm just going to pause one moment because I hear that some people cannot hear me. So Andrea, if you could just pop in and let me know if you can hear me, that would be helpful. All right, I'm just going to switch my audio settings really quickly, and hopefully everyone will be able to hear me then. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. are welcome to attend as an attendee to that conference. So there will be a lot of great places throughout the week to connect with people, to learn what's going on in different industries and trends, and really how to leverage your business to build on the success that's already gotten you to the place where you're attending this conference. So I'm going to dive in now a little bit more to the nitty-gritty and some specific tips on what to expect, how to prepare, and what you should be thinking of as you all get ready to travel to Las Vegas. So our first tip is to make sure you dress for success. The dress code at both International Day and the WBENC conference is business attire. So a business suit or the equivalent, if you are planning on wearing traditional dress from your country, think of it that way. You should be wearing something that you feel comfortable doing business in. Most of our corporates who are attending will be wearing suits. So that's the level of dress that's expected at this event. If you are staying for the entire event, there's a Thursday evening tribute dinner at the WBENC conference where they do a more formal award ceremony, and the dress for that specific event is a little bit more formal, so a cocktail dress. There will be people in gowns there. You do not have to wear a gown. I know a lot of you are traveling a long way and have some things that you want, plenty of things that you want to get in your suitcase. So you can wear a business suit to that event as well, but just know that there will be people who are more dressed at that event. So business attire for the week, the one tip we give everybody is that they wear comfortable shoes. It's a long week, a lot of walking and a lot of standing. For those of you who are staying at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which is the hotel attached to the conference center, just to get from the hotel to the conference area, we're expecting to be a 15-minute walk. That's what we've been told. So just to start your day every day, you're going to be walking about 15 minutes indoors. So you should definitely wear comfortable shoes. The other thing I will let you know is the outdoor temperature in Las Vegas is going to be well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit next week. And I'm sorry I did not look up the Celsius equivalent of that, but that's, I believe, around 40-ish degrees Celsius, so it's going to be very, very hot outside. At the same time, the conference center will be air-conditioned, probably very heavily, so you should be prepared with a sweater or a jacket to make sure you're not cold inside. So depending on where you're coming from, the temperatures that you're used to, know that the rooms will be air-conditioned and they will be quite chilly, whereas if you walk outside, it will be sweltering heat. So make sure you're wearing clothing that is comfortable for you and that you're layering, so if you get a little cold, you have a sweater or a jacket, and if you're walking outside and you get warm, you can take that off. So my next piece of advice is to arrive prepared. Doing advanced preparation, I can't stress that enough, and making sure that you are doing as much as possible to make sure you are ready to leverage this event. There will be a lot of people at this event. Everybody will be trying to make connections, so the more focused you are and knowing what your goals are and what you want to achieve will help you have a more successful conference. So I mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again. If you haven't already visited our website and looked at the information on International Day to find out who's attending, what the agenda is going to be like, I recommend that you do that, and we can share this presentation with the links at the end of this webinar so that everybody has it. If you haven't seen it yet or looked yet, but we would encourage you to look and do as much research on who's attending as you can. The same with the WBENC conference. The WBENC conference will have, I believe, several thousand people there. So it will be a very big event. There will be a lot of WBEs there looking to make connections. With the corporates, there will also be a lot of corporates there. So knowing who you want to talk to in advance will help you be focused and be successful, because it can be a little overwhelming. International Day will be a much smaller event. We're expecting only about 200 people there, so it will be easier to make connections that day. But again, the more focused you are, the better prepared you'll be and the more success you'll have during that event connecting to the people who are the best business connections for you. As a reminder, you must register for both of these events separately. So the registration for International Day is separate from the registration for the WBENC conference, and registering for one does not guarantee you or get you entrance to the other. So definitely check your registrations this week. Make sure you are registered for both events, just because, especially if you're traveling internationally, we can accept registrations on the spot at both events, but you know, international credit card charges, sometimes that triggers a fraud alert, or your credit cards don't work internationally. So you just want to make sure that's one of those things you've checked off your list before you go, is that you've registered for both events and you have all your confirmations handy should you need them. Our next piece of advice is to update your marketing materials. So you want to make sure that, one, your eNetwork profile is up to date. That is the profile that you have within We Connect International's eNetwork, and that's the application you created to register your business and get it certified with us first. Once you complete that application, it becomes your public profile that is visible to all of our corporate members. Our corporate members are interested in who is attending, and they will be searching the eNetwork, and we share the eNetwork profiles with them regularly. So we encourage you to just take a look at those, make sure they are up to date and that they are marketing your business in the way that you speak about it and you think is best. Materials for the event specifically, so I would say prepare your capability statement. I have a link here. It is just to Google, because there are some great examples on Google itself about capability statements and how to write them, and what is most effective. So I'm just going to pull up an image that I can show you guys quickly, but there's tons of them on Google. So this is just a template example, making sure it has your company logo, information, what your core competencies are, the differentiators for your business, basic company data, you know, if you have any certifications, if you have a DUNS number, if you're using NAICS codes, all of those things, and then any past performance projects you've worked on with big clients. If you've worked with other corporates, that's always helpful to put that information on there if you're able to share it. And of course, your contact information and how you can be contacted. So if you haven't put together a capability statement yet, do that this week so you can bring a few copies with you to show people, and then so you have it ready so in your follow-up it can be shared as well. The easiest way to look at capability statement templates is to Google them, and again, we will be sharing the presentation at the end of this webinar. Hopefully you've been working on your pitch. We did a webinar a few weeks ago with one of our WBEs who specializes in pitching. So hopefully you've been thinking about it and practicing. If not, now's a good time. Start thinking about it, what you want to say and how you want to portray your business. You know, you want to be really focused on what you're sharing. You want to share what is your business, what do you do, what makes you different, and what can you provide
the corporates and the other businesses that you are talking to, because really every person you talk to at this conference, you're going to be giving a very short pitch to. So really start thinking about that pitch. If you have more than one audience in mind at this event, you might want to tailor it slightly for each of those, so start thinking about those things. There will also be a pitch competition as part of International Day in the afternoon, and we encourage you to start thinking about your pitch and to take advantage of that event. We will have a number of judges representing our corporate members at that event who will be giving feedback. So it's a great way to really start off strong, practice your pitch, get some great feedback from the corporates on how you want to portray your business throughout the week. So definitely remember, Monday afternoon of International Day, we'll be having a pitch competition. And even if you don't plan on participating in that, definitely give your pitch some thought in advance so that you are ready to go and ready to portray yourself in the strongest light possible, because you are only going to have a very short amount of time probably with most of the people you're talking to, because everybody's trying to talk to so many people. Continuing on marketing materials. So I've been mentioning being focused throughout this webinar, and focus is really important. Like I said, there will be about 200 people at International Day, and there will be thousands of people at the WBENC conference. So not only are there going to be a lot of people that you want to talk to, but everybody else who's in attendance is going to want to talk to other people and the same corporates you want to talk to as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition for everyone's attention who's attending this conference. So really what we recommend is that you make a target list of We Connect International's corporate members, and also that you look at the WBENC corporate members as well, so that you are very clear on who your top targets are, so you can focus on connecting with them. Some of you might say 3 to 5, that's not enough. You know your business and what you need to achieve better than anyone. So if you want that list to be a little bit longer, that's fine, but we would say no more than 10 corporates should be on your list. Once you've identified those corporates who are your top targets, you should do a little research. Be sure they are attending International Day. Confirm that they will be exhibiting at the business fair. So Wednesday at the WBENC conference, the trade show and business fair will be happening. We Connect International will have a booth, so we encourage you all to stop by our booth. But the corporates will also, a lot of them will have their own booths, and some other WBEs will have booths as well. So all of the information, there's a map listed on the WBENC website, and let me just pull that up because my link is broken, unfortunately. But you can go onto the WBENC conference website. They have a business fair map, so you can see where all of the booths are and who's exhibiting where. So there's a list of every corporate or booth person or company with a booth, organizations as well, and you can look those up in advance. So the day of the business fair, we would suggest that you know exactly what booths you want to visit based on your targets and go straight to those booths when you're fresh, when the corporates are fresh, and make your connections then, as opposed to, wandering through the trade show and making your connections later in the day when everybody's a little bit more tired. Also, there will be workshops, so there will be some panels during International Day, and then there will be workshops on the Tuesday and the Thursday of the WBENC conference. So look at the workshop list. Nope, that link won't work either, unfortunately. Look at the workshop list, see who's hosting workshops, and if the corporates you're interested in are attending those workshops or participating in them, make sure you're participating as well. So so that it's just another way for you to connect with them. And then, of course, if they are sponsoring, know that they're sponsoring. Usually the sponsors are associated with a specific event unless they are a title sponsor. So, for example, We Connect International is a sponsor, and our sponsorship is specific to the Thursday afternoon lunch. So if they are a sponsor, make sure you know when they're sponsoring, what they're sponsoring, so you can, again, that's another way to touch them and try to connect with them. I got a question. Will you be receiving a map when you arrive, or should you print the one off the website? So the WBENC event, they will not be sharing a map with you. So there are two options. One, you can print the one off the website if you choose. Two, there is a mobile app for the WBENC conference that you can download that will allow you to search and look at not only the trade show map, but all of the workshops and connect with other attendees that way. So if you're bringing your smartphone, which I'm sure most of you are, I believe there will be Wi-Fi available, so you can download the app and use it for those. Also, all of the booth numbers are listed on the WBENC conference website, so you can look at those booth numbers in advance and write them down, and the trade show will be very clearly marked. It's organized by number, so it will be clearly marked what booths are where, so they should be relatively easy to find. So if you just bring a list in advance of the booths you want to visit, that should be sufficient. So you have a few options to make sure you are prepared. And again, if you're looking to expand internationally, definitely come meet We Connect International. We will have our own booth that you are welcome to visit the day of the trade show. We will be obviously at International Day, our entire team. And then the Tuesday of the WBENC conference in the afternoon, we are organizing 2 workshops. One of them is focused on making international business connections between WBEs, specifically international and U.S. WBEs. So definitely consider those workshops as you are looking and planning out your schedule. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to some more tips for the conference. So these tips are really to help you prepare for the conference and just make sure you've done everything you can to make sure you make successful connections and that you have a great conference. So if you haven't been taking part in the We Connect Academy, you can definitely go on our website and see what you have access to. We have a lot of great training materials on how to approach corporate members and what they're looking for. So this is a good time to look at those materials and really brush up and make sure you know how you want to present your business and what the corporates want to hear when you are presenting that business. We talked about prioritizing a few minutes ago, but I can't stress this enough. You can't make lasting connections with everyone you're going to meet. You are probably all going to meet several hundred people throughout the course of both events, and that's too many people to build lasting connections with. So definitely prioritize who you want to meet, especially when it comes to the corporate members. Like I said, familiarize yourself with the convention center layout and the event schedules. For International Day, all of the events, or the schedule with the event space is listed on our website. And the convention center where the WBENC conference is being held, there will be signage, but again, the more information you can pull in advance from the WBENC website will be helpful, especially when it comes to the trade show. Download the app so you have that if you plan on using the app. There will be a conference booklet handed out at the WBENC conference as well that you can use for reference. But again, it's going to be a very big space, so the more you can familiarize yourself with it in advance, the better. So definitely do that. And like I said, prepare to do a lot of walking. The We Connect International staff is staying in the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which is attached to the convention center, and we've been told it's going to be about a 15-minute walk indoors from the convention center, or I'm sorry, from the hotel to the convention center. So make sure you're aware of all of that, that you need some time to travel between hotels, especially if you're not staying at the hotel on site, so that you can get to everywhere you want to be on time. Definitely listen, talk to all of the people around you, listen to the speakers in all of the workshops and panels, other experts you run into. The other WBEs sitting next to you are all going to have great information, and the corporate members as well, on how they operate, you know, what they're doing, and listening to all of that information that you're going to get from talking to people and taking it in will, one, help you figure out if they're good targets, and two, help you think about your business more and how you want to present yourself and what the most important things for you to focus on are. I'm sure most of you do this already, but this is just one of those little reminders. Make sure you have a pen with you. You're going to be collecting a lot of business cards, and if you throw them all in your bag and then 2 weeks later you go to look at them so you can do follow-up and you haven't made any notes on those cards, it's going to be very difficult to follow up. So we really recommend you have a pen with you, and if there's something specific you want to follow up with somebody on, definitely make a note on the card so you remember why you took that card and what you want to follow up about. My next tip is important because it helps you maximize your time. So be willing to take no for an answer. You're going to meet people who are who you want to connect with, who might say, you know what, you're not in the right industry with me, or I'm not interested in buying that service or product right now. That's okay. If they tell you no, take their card, make a note, not a good time, not a good lead, and move on. There are going to be plenty of people at these events who you can connect with and where your time is better spent. So if you've thought someone was a good target and they say, actually, I'm not a good target for you, that's okay. Move on. You will likely meet someone else who is a good target who you can build a relationship with. Be organized. Like I said, you're going to get a lot of cards, probably hundreds, and just make sure you're collecting them all in one place with the notes, and that your cards are separate. So if you want to give someone one of your business cards, you can easily find it, because you're probably, you know, going to have a lot of short conversations. So the faster you can, you know, and more organized you are to share information, the better. Also, travel light. Like I said, even if you are staying in the hotels connected to the convention center, it is going to be a long walk from your hotel to the events of the day. And then there will be a lot of walking, you know, from a lunch to a workshop, breakfast to a workshop. So you're going to be moving around a lot throughout the day. So we recommend you travel light. On the day of the trade show, I also recommend you travel light that day. So you might want to bring a few capability statements with you, but mostly you want to bring them to show people and not necessarily leave with them. And the reason for that is corporates especially, and everybody, you know, there's a lot of swag and things to pick up. There's a lot of materials given out at the conference, and space in everybody's bags on their way home is going to be at a premium. So you want to travel light, everyone else wants to travel light, so just know as you're walking around the events, anything you bring you need to carry around with you, so be aware of how heavy your bag is getting, and then anything you collect or give to anyone else will either have to be left in a hotel room or brought back in their suitcase. So, and everybody wants to keep those bags light, so just remember to travel light. If you do have any photos of your product or things you want to share, that's the best way to share it, I think, is in email follow-ups. If you can email your capability statement later as a follow-up. If you have an actual product you want to show somebody, if it's small, you can bring a small sample and just carry around that one sample and show it to people. Or if you're going to have your iPad or other tablet with you and you can have some photos on it, photos are a great way to show those products without actually having to carry them around. So hopefully you'll have a really great conference and you'll have a lot of follow-up to do. So for follow-up, since you are probably going to meet a lot of people, we recommend that you divide your contacts into 3 groups. So the first group is your very good prospects, people you think you can connect with quickly, and there's a potential for a relationship or to do business together. So those people should go in one pile, and you should follow up with them first. You should have a second pile, which is people who are good contacts. You might be able to do business with them, or they might be able to provide you some sort of feedback or service, but you could build a relationship with them, but it's not going to be one of your very best options. So those you can put into the good pile, and then another pile is not prospects. So those are people that you meet. It was great to meet them. You might want to connect with them on LinkedIn, and then, but they're not really prospects. So I would say divide up all the cards you collect into those 3 groups. Spend most of your time focusing on the very good prospects that you've collected, then move on to the good, and then move on to the not prospects. You should be following up with people after this conference, especially the very good and the good prospects. So the more organized you can be, the better, because everybody else who attended this conference is also going to be following up. So you want to make sure you're organized, you remember why you connected with someone and why you're following up with them. So if you were speaking to someone and they gave you specific instructions, for example, if you were talking to a corporate and you talked about a business opportunity and they said, follow up with me in 6 months, you might want to send them just a very brief note right after the conference. It was great to meet you. I know you said I should follow up with you in 6 months. So I've put a note on my calendar, and I will do that then. So do as they ask if they give you specific instructions for following up, and then most importantly, make sure you follow through on those instructions. Revisit as you're doing your follow-up. If you have a pitch video that you really like or a capability statement that you want to share with them, include that in a link to that video or your capability statement in your email, so that as you're following up, you're not just saying, oh, it's so great to meet you, and that's really it. You're giving them something tangible to look at that reminds them of why they talked to you and what the connection was, and why you are a good connection for them. Again, hopefully you will update your eNetwork profile in advance of the conference, but if not, or if you go to the conference and realize the way you have presented yourself in the eNetwork and then went to the conference and decided that wasn't the best way and changed your presentation a bit, make sure you update your eNetwork profile to reflect that. Like I said, our corporates are constantly looking. Our We Connect International team is constantly sharing WB information with these corporates, so it's important that you have a profile that reflects who you are as a company and how you want to be portrayed, because we are just sharing that information as it is in the eNetwork on a consistent basis. So do check in there, especially if the way your messaging changes during the conference. And then, of course, plan ahead. We Connect International Day and the WBENC conference are usually the same week every year. So if you have a great conference, if you want to come back next year, make sure you put those dates on your calendar now so you don't forget that the event events are happening next year and that, you know, you need to get your tickets, that there's an early bird deadline, all of those other things. So definitely put the dates for next year's conference on your calendar if you want to attend again. And then if you learn any key lessons that you want to make sure you don't forget next year so you have a great experience and hopefully even better than you have this year, make sure you make a note of those lessons learned so you can follow up with them. So with that, that ends my official presentation. I'm happy to open it up for questions. So you can definitely type into the chat box, or I will leave it to Andrea to see if we can unmute everyone and we can have an actual conversation. Like I said, we will share this presentation with everybody in the follow-up, so you'll get this information. We're really excited to see you next week. So I will be at International Day, as will the rest of our team, and we'll be there throughout the week. So definitely say hi to us International Day. Come to our workshops that we are organizing at the WBENC conference on Tuesday afternoon. And of course, we'll have a booth at the trade show on Wednesday, so come find us there. And then Thursday afternoon, if you'll be at the tribute lunch, we will be a sponsor, so you'll have the chance to hear our CEO speak about our great work and all of you at that event. Definitely, if you have questions, let me know. I see one question about the WBENC conference app being available on Windows phones. I am unsure of that. If it is, but you can definitely get the information on the WBENC conference website, and I will take you guys there just quickly to show you, because I know some of my links were not working. This is the
yeah, it is. It has. Yeah, it is available for Android phones as well.
Okay.
You can find the information there. Yeah, in the right where you are, Carrie.
Right. So if you go to the WBENC conference website, like I said, the program details are all here at. So you can look at the schedule at a glance. Specific workshop descriptions, so definitely think about what kind of workshops you want to attend and what would be the most valuable for you. The mobile app information is here. There's a silent auction if you're interested in that. If you are planning on taking part in the matchmakers, you would have had to register by the early bird deadline, but there's information there in addition to the information you already have. And then there's a few other things happening. The trade show itself, so I'll show you this because I do think it's important. Let me just find the correct, there it is, booth assignments. So oh, that's not it. So they do have, there it is, the floor map. A floor map that you can look at in advance. So like I said, there will be a lot of people there. So this is the entire exhibitor hall. It will be huge. So definitely look for anyone you want to meet with in advance for their booth, because there will be a lot of other companies there. Just so everybody knows, where is the WeConnect booth? So WeConnect International, our booth is right over here, booth 114, so we'll be over in the corner. We would love to see you all, so come find us at booth 114, which is right here. Again, if you zoom in on this, as opposed to searching, you can also see who all the sponsors are. All of the booths are labeled. Andrea, did we get any other questions?
Yes, we have, well, so Nancy was asking about the option to bring visuals for the pitch competition. We won't, unfortunately, we won't be able to, you know, have a connection, a computer where you can put your PowerPoint presentation, but anything that you can, you know, use pictures, any prep that you can bring, anything that it's that can show your product would be great. Unfortunately, we won't have the availability of the equipment to allow for PowerPoint presentations. Then we have Lauren. She's saying, you mentioned something along the lines of knowing what corporates will want to hear. Could you elaborate on what they may want to hear? That's for you, Carrie.
So I think it's important to know your business and know who you're pitching to. So the first thing I would recommend is trying to do some research on who you potentially want to target. So I will go to the We Connect International website and just show you on our corporate membership page, we have links to all of our corporate member websites, and some are better than others, but a lot of them give you information on who their supplier diversity people are, what types of things they buy. IBM is a great example. So this links directly to their supplier diversity page. It lets you know what they're doing in relation to supplier diversity. It lets you know what type of commodities they buy and who the contacts for those commodities are. So, you can go to the conference if you are selling marketing communications and know you want to find Johnny, see if he's going to be there, and try to talk to him. So it's important to know who the corporates are and what they buy. For example, if you sell some type of retail product, your time is probably not best spent with IBM or ExxonMobil. You probably want to focus on a retailer. So thinking of things like that. It's also important to remember there will be some procurement professionals from every corporation, from most of the corporations there, but a lot of the people you're going to meet at this conference are supplier diversity professionals. And what that means is they work with procurement within their corporations, but they are the advocates for supplier diversity. They can help connect you to the right person, but they're often not the person who's doing the buying. So as you're talking to people, knowing who they are, what their role is, if you can in advance, and thinking, okay, I'm likely not going to be talking to the person who specifically buys for what my product or service is. So what do I need to say to get my message across to help me connect with the person I am talking to so that they can connect me to the right person? Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Well, we also have another questions about the examples of visuals that you can use in the pitch competition. Well, the thing is that you will only have 3 minutes. So, anything that you think can add, some interesting features to your presentation, we suggest not to, worry about too much about the visuals, but more about, how you explain your business. And since the time will be so tight, yeah, we won't be able to, provide the option to use PowerPoint presentations. So anything like, it could be the product, it could be pictures, it could be, like something graphic, but no PowerPoint presentations. Then Casey or Kathy, we purchased some promotional material. We would like to know if it's a good idea to hand some out to our targets at the show. Carrie, do you want to get that?
I think you should be very targeted when you're giving out promotional materials. So you can definitely bring them. Just know, one, you're going to have to carry them around, so don't bring too much because you don't want it to be really heavy. 2, make sure it's something small and light, like one or 2 sheets of paper that can easily fit in somebody's baggage as they're trying to get home. and be really focused. You know, if you're not having a booth at the event, which most people aren't, there's going to be no place to put it down. So if you're talking to somebody, you've made a really good connection with them, they want to know more, definitely feel free to share, you know, any materials you have that you think would be valuable with them. But don't plan on just handing out your materials to every single person you meet. So be focused. You'll know the situation as you're in it better than anyone, so use your judgment. If you think it's a good idea to give someone a materials because you've had a good conversation with them, then definitely do that.
Then we have another question. How do we find that website with the corporates?
So the website right now that I am showing you is the We Connect International website. So if you go to our website, corporate members, under corporate membership, that will show you the links. The WBENC website for the conference specifically is conf.webank.org, and we'll share this information with you after this webinar, so you can follow up, and they will have a lot of details on the WBENC conference itself. So those are the two websites that you should look at. The WBENC website itself, which is webank.org, also has information on their corporate members, which are different from We Connect International's corporate members.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. How do we see what the corporate wants?
So this is a little bit tricky. I think part of it comes from knowing your own business and what you offer. And then part of it comes from knowing who the corporate is and who you're approaching. So for example, if you sell marketing materials or marketing services, just about every corporate buys that in some way or has a department focused on that then, you know, might subcontract out things. But the way every company does it is going to be slightly different. So knowing in advance as much as you can, you know, they have a supplier who handles a lot of their marketing and promotion, or do they do it in-house? Doing as much research like that in advance. If, you know, you are doing that, looking at their current marketing and branding materials and strategy and going up to them and saying, my company does X, and I see you're doing this sort of marketing campaign, and I think it's missing this, which I can provide, is really helpful. What I would recommend trying to avoid doing is walking up to a corporate and saying, I want to do business with your company. How do I do that? They get a lot of questions like that. They find it frustrating. So the more, you don't have to be an expert on their supply chain and how they do business, but the more focused you are with your pitch and what you can offer, the better, because that will allow them to say, you know, you've clearly done your homework, you know a little bit about my company and where the gaps are and what you can offer. Let me make a connection for you, as opposed to saying, I want to do business with you, but I don't know how. Can you tell me? That to them is a little bit overwhelming, and it makes it seem like you're not quite ready. So you don't have to be an expert, but as long as you've done, you know, as much basic research, looked at their website, see if you can find somebody to that you want to connect with, that you can ask for a connection for, that type of thing is really going to set you apart.
Okay, I think those are the questions that we have for today. I don't know if anybody else has any more questions. If not, thank you, Carrie. This was very helpful, and I hope it was as helpful for all the awesome Weebies that are coming next week, and we will meet you all in Vegas. So we're very excited about this. So get ready, start packing, and if you need anything else, you can always email us. So we're looking forward to meeting you all. Thank you so much.